let's go. It's the two dudes and the attitudes ruthless, aggressively speaking, so let's do this. We're Ryan and Denton, they here to get your attention. The 5-star broadcast, shit, start to the ending. Whether it's the E or it's all E, the two dudes with the attitudes to bring the heat. Get the point, yeah, it's on, time to lock in. Listen to the podcast where they get it poppin'.
You are watching Two Dudes with Attitudes, a wrestling podcast, and this is the WWE edition, baby, where we are going to talk about all things that Ryan enjoyed, SmackDown, Raw, and NXT Great American Bash. We're going to throw out some SummerSlam predictions, and once again, we're going to end our episode with our least valuable and most valuable dudettes, or dudette groups or dudette wipes, or we'll figure it out, but we're going to do it. We're going to. And with that said, before we get into this episode, I want you to know we are excited. We are going to do a SummerSlam watch along. We've been telling you, I know we missed last week and we apologize. It's mostly my fault, but I'll blame Ryan once again. But it's always just, we're gonna do the SummerSlam watch along this Saturday. Tune in.
Sir.
It starts at 7:00 Eastern. I already made sure to make a mark on my calendar so I don't, I'm not hanging out in the pool with my son until 4:00. Then I have to rush to jump onto the watch along. But it is at 4:00 Eastern. They're doing like a 3-hour pre-talk video.
They're doing
that. Can you explain that? I was like watching it and I'm like, you already pre-recorded these. I don't care
doing
about them.
They're doing a 3-hour pre-show starting at 4:00 Eastern time. And then there's the pay-per-view is going to start at 7 p.m. Eastern time. And then they're doing they're going to do a post-show, which is going to go probably maybe another hour or so, like a press conference.
Should we do the post-show this time?
We can look into it. Depends on how late it is, but yeah,
that's fine for you. It's like, but even at 4, that's only 10 o'clock for you.
Yeah, no,
probably 11. No, it might end. There's 7 matches. It might end at 11. Yeah, it might be a little.
We'll see. But I saw somebody on X post that they're doing it to compete with Collision because Collision is moving to 5 p.m. on Saturday because they didn't want to compete with SummerSlam because they knew SummerSlam was going to blow it out of the water. So Collision is going to be from 5 to 7 p.m. this Saturday on TNT, a live episode, I guess. And so WWE was like, hold my beer. We're going to do our pre-show at 4:00 p.m. So take that, Shane O'Mac, which we'll talk more about that.
Oh, yeah. Tomorrow. We'll talk about Shane O tomorrow. Here comes the money. I'm so excited for Shane O'Mac versus Orange Cassidy. It's going to be fire, baby.
It means Shane O'Mac versus Darby Allin. Make it happen. The thumbtack match.
But yeah,
jumping off of glass windows and shit. Like, make it happen.
I know we didn't even get to talk about Max Caster eating thumbtacks last week because we missed it. But anyway, God, what a
chair shot to the head. Yeah.
Too clean. And anyway, let's get into it. Are you ready for some SmackDown? Let's
get
into it. Let's lay at the SmackDown on that candy ass. For those that don't know, that's how The Rock used to say it back in the days. All right, let's get into it. Nick Aldis tells the Bloodline they can't be in the tag team match tonight, but Solo tells him they are. All right. LA Knight defeats Santos Escobar after the match. Logan Paul jumps Knight. Cargill and Belair call out Dawn and Fire, who come out, and then Cargill and Belair basically whoop their tushies. We get Nia Jax gives Tiffany Stratton a new Money in the Bank briefcase because she knows she would never cash in on her. The Bloodline win the tag team gauntlet match, so that went about 40 so minutes by defeating the Street Profits, who were basically in like the whole match, right? I feel like they were never not in it. Afterwards, A-Town down. They hate Terrence Crawford. They pity the fool who likes Terrence Crawford. So basically, Grayson Waller talks crap to Terrence Crawford. Then he basically says Austin Theory will knock him out. Terrence Crawford does not care about assault, punches Austin Theory straight in the face for no reason. And that's the end of that. Cody Rhodes has a sit down and he talks about the history of the Bloodline. And I fell asleep during some of it. I don't know. Face to face next week with Solo, I guess. Andrade and Carmelo Hayes will wrestle again at some point. In the main event, Nia Jax and Tiffany Stratton defeat Bayley and Mitchin. with Nia Jax pinning Bayley. Solo closes the show saying the Bloodline will win the tag titles. He'll see Cody next week, and Roman knows what's up to close the show. And that's a super quick SmackDown review. I basically covered everything. I don't think I missed anything.
I was
pretty much.
Yeah,
that was it.
That 1 hour tag team match kind of threw everything off, but
that's what happens.
Yeah, I don't even know where to begin. This episode, SmackDown, man, just has not been cooking lately, and this was another one that just kind of, I guess it kind of started off hot with the LA Knight Logan Paul stuff. Logan Paul taking, hitting the frog splash on.
That frog splash is insane.
Yeah, and Santos Escobar getting a 1-up on LA Knight and all that. Like, I thought that it started off hot and then it just fizzled out. And I don't know, like gauntlet matches to me are way too long. We don't need to have them. I mean, that thing went through like 4 commercial breaks, and I think this was a missed opportunity for the WWE to, you have Jacob Fatu in this tag team match, and you didn't even have him run the gauntlet. As great as he's been in the ring, as great and as dominant as the Bloodline has been in the ring, and you had that awkward thing with Nick Aldis saying they can't be in the gauntlet match, and Solo says, "Okay, well they're going to be, so why not have them enter first?"
Thank you.
Like what that, and then have them run and then you can kind of get to showcase your Bloodline, make them look dominant, make them just beat everybody with ease, and then run the gauntlet and then pin the Street Profits at the end. It was a missed opportunity they didn't even enter. I think they were like the 4th team in or something. So I don't know.
Bloodline was last. They were last.
Yeah, they're the last team. Yeah. That was nuts to me. Like, why would you make them the last team instead of the first team? It made no sense. I didn't get it. I'm glad they won, but I don't know. It feels like they're destined to win those tag team belts off of DIY next week on SmackDown. So we'll see what happens.
Well, I agree with you on everything you said. I didn't think it made any sense to have them come in last, and it made them. You want to make them look stronger, right? So you make them look stronger by giving the team they defeat an out by being in it for too long. Because I knew it was coming. Because every single time the Street Profits beat somebody, Cora Graves was all in it about like, oh, they don't have it in them. Oh, they got the pin. Wow. Oh, they don't have it in them. Oh, they got the pin. Wow. How are they going to keep going? Oh, they don't have it in. And then finally it was like, well, here comes Jacob Fatu. They're going to lose. And then they got wiped out. And I don't think that made the Bloodline look strong. I also have to say that I think I disagree with you. I think I made a TikTok about this. I don't think there's any chance the Bloodline wins. I think 100% we're getting Cody Rhodes costing them. I don't think we can go into SummerSlam with them as the tag team champions. I don't think it makes any sense. I think Fatu will do this and that, and eventually they'll throw a doggy bone and he'll go chase it. And then the other guy will get pinned up pretty quickly because Cody Rhodes does some kind of crossroads 3 times or something, and Solo will be angry, and then the Bloodline will get, I know it sounds weird because you can't have Cody get the comeuppance right before SummerSlam, but I
think Jimmy might come back. Jimmy Uso.
Where is that guy?
He
didn't get beat up that bad. He'd been gone for
I think he had a real life injury, but
I think so. Yeah.
But like I could see him coming back and costing the new Bloodline the tag. But then I feel like that's telegraphing Roman Reigns coming back the next night.
100%. 100%.
I could also see
that's why I think Cody will.
I could also see the big return of Randy Orton and Kevin Owens coming out, and like
that's actually better because then Cody doesn't have to be the reason. Yeah.
The humongous return of Randy Orton. Like last week, I know we didn't talk about last week's episode, but teasing the mystery partner all night long just for it to be Kevin Owens. Like, are you serious? Like, come on now.
Who went through another actually his chair shot was pretty vicious. That's more important than going through a table. I could probably go through a table and work the next day.
Kevin Owens, man, that man's always getting his ass kicked by the Bloodline.
Always, forever, since the beginning of time.
Yeah, I mean, how many matches did he have with Roman Reigns? Like 4, and then he had 2 more matches with him, like in the Sami Zayn run. Yeah, and then all the War Games. It was
tell as old as time. Kevin Owens getting beat up by the Bloodline. Yeah,
but SmackDown. I mean, you want to make the Bloodline look strong. You should have had them come out first and have them run the gauntlet. And really build Jacob Fatu into this, Samoan werewolf as they're billing him. But other than that, man, SmackDown was just blah. Really, nothing happened.
I feel like it's always just about Solo. Like that Cody promo was atrocious. Like, what the hell are we doing here? And
Yeah,
I did like Solo though. Before you jump into Cody, I did like Solo ending it. I like that he went from like, yo, I'm just the tribal chief. Yo, I don't care if Roman thinks that he's the tribal chief. He ain't coming back. Yo, if Roman comes back, we gonna whoop his ass. Like, I do like that he has progressively gotten more and more like, this is me. We don't give two shits about you. Right before SummerSlam's hinting, it's been done perfectly. Even though I claimed, and we didn't talk about this last week, which we could have, was Cody Rhodes 100 days as champion has been a flipping joke and it's been boring.
Yeah.
It's been 90% Bloodline, 10% Brock Lesnar, 10% Judgment Day / AJ Styles. His Bloodline, his reign has been a joke. The 100 days is laughable. I don't care what anybody says. And but Solo has, I do like what Solo has done. I like what the Bloodline's doing. I'm still intrigued by it. And I think the main reason why I'm intrigued by it is that I want to know what SummerSlam brings. If Roman does cost Solo the title, then what? Are we getting the Usos coming back? Are we getting a Jimmy? Are we getting Sammy losing to Braun Breaker and then joining the Bloodline to help Roman, who you never thought would happen?
With Jay a lot. Yeah,
100%. Are we getting The Rock? Is he going to still be with Roman? Is he joining the Young Guns? Are we getting the other brother that just got signed in the Bloodline who hasn't come out yet? I forget his name. Are we getting more of the Youngins? Is this really going to be the old lines versus the young? Like, what are we getting here? I'm very intrigued, and it's building up perfectly before November for War Games, which will lead perfectly into Royal Rumble and WrestleMania. So I am like dialed in until Mania with this Bloodline. I'm good with it. So, but Cody, I'm not, and it's weird to say it because he's a part of it, but I still, part of me wants him to lose a Solo to just like, let's move on with him and see what happens. It's not going to happen, but I am intrigued by
that's
that
why
happening.
If they had him lose to Solo, then it would make sense to have the Tama Tonga and Jacob Fatu win the tag belts, and then you have a new undisputed. You have the very reminiscent of the old Bloodline when they held all the belts, and now you have the new Bloodline having all the belts, booking them strong. So there's a lot of different avenues.
That route.
Yeah,
it's hard to do because we do predictions today. It's always hard to do predictions without SmackDown because SmackDown changes it all. So it's hard to do that. But I heard 83 weeks, and they were saying that Cody Rhodes is like a bigger champion, ratings, merchandise, seat selling attempt than John Cena, and that means his run has been successful and this and that. And I don't believe that. I know that sounds weird, although I don't harp on AEW for having low ratings. I think AEW is freaking cooking right now. I don't care if they have 10 people watching or 1,000. They're cooking right now. Just because WWE is at its best, I don't think that's because of Cody, because I do think, and I believe in this theory, if you agree with me or not, that SmackDown was better when Cody was on Raw, and Raw is better since Cody's been on SmackDown. And I believe that shows that it is what it is.
No,
that's
I completely agree.
Yeah.
No, I completely agree. And I think, people put too much stock into merch, right? Because if you're a babyface, of course you're going to sell a lot of merch. Jey Uso
100%.
sells a lot of merch, and he's not doing very well on the main roster right now at all. Cody Rhodes, of course, he's the face of the company, so he's going to have a lot of merch, a lot of shirts, a lot of pictures, a lot of belts that he signs, those weight belts, and then a lot of you can always buy a Cody Rhodes autograph at the WWE shop when you go to an event in person and everything. So and CM Punk sells a lot of merch, but when Roman was a heel and he was in the Bloodline, it was hard to find Roman merch. I mean, we went to WrestleMania 39 and you wanted the glove and you couldn't find it anywhere.
I wanted his shirt and the glove. Couldn't find shit. Nothing.
Yeah.
And I have that shirt now, but
it's very selective with what they put out because we can't have the bad guy outselling everybody, and it makes sense. But I think people put too much stock into how much merch people sell.
I agree. I fully agree.
Before we move on, going to Cody Rhodes, the one thing that really irritated me about that whole segment on SmackDown.
Let's hear it. Yeah,
they kept teasing a face-to-face or an exclusive interview with Cody Rhodes. So I was thinking we were gonna get like a sit down interview with, I don't know, Michael Cole or Corey Graves or Byron Saxton, somebody, and just talking to Cody Rhodes and asking him questions and Cody Rhodes giving answers. That's not what we got at all. We got a pre-taped segment at some bar, maybe his bar, with his like his titles, like you can see the bling from his title in the background, but it's blurred out. And it was just a weird, it was just very weird. I didn't like how they teased that, and then that's what they gave us, was this weird segment where you know, he's talking about Roman Reigns and he's talking about Solo, and he thought he was done with the bloodline when he won at WrestleMania, but he was wrong, and now he's got to deal with this new. I didn't like that at all. I did not like that segment. They don't say you have an exclusive interview and then we don't get it. That drives me bonkers.
I mean, you know, is it better than Gunther constantly having interviews in the empty arena? 2 hours. Is this the ninth? We'll talk about it on Raw, but is this the 20th time he's done that? Like the empty arena? I don't know.
Yeah, no,
I don't know. Like I say, I like the direction of WWE right now with their vignettes and their videos and being different than when Vince McMahon was around. But I also think they're trying too hard, right? You're doing too much to try to be different, right? All right, you ready for Raw? No one else? We're good.
Let's break it down.
Right.
Yeah.
This was the longest of the recaps. Let's go. The show opens with Seth Rollins wearing high heels and a rough shirt with shoulder pads. Out comes Drew McIntyre and CM Punk, and Seth explains the rules. But there are no rules unless he wants to make them rules. And if there were be no rules, then he will make sure there are no rules. But if he wants rules, if he's going to count you out, he might count you out, but he might count to 10,000. He might even count to 1. He might even count to 50. He might pin you 1, 2, 3, but maybe he'll decide he doesn't want to. But either way, he's calling it straight down the middle. I have no idea what the fudge that promo was about. So I have no idea about Drew, and Cody can't touch each other. So basically they bicker, and then Drew has his bracelet. The end. All right, that was that promo. Liv Morgan destroyed the clubhouse meaning the Judgment Day clubhouse, but Dominic Mysterio is not really sure it was her. The Creeds defeat the Alpha Academy, and after the match, Dupree slaps Gable. Hey, finally. But then the Wyatt Six come out. They remove their masks. Chad Gable runs away like a coward, and Uncle Howdy scares him off even more. Carlito will face Jey Uso, and Dominic will face Sami Zayn later on tonight. Bronson Reed defeats Sheamus. Damian Priest talks about Gunther. Braun Breaker lost to Sami Zayn because he didn't take him seriously. And he will this week. But also, he's probably going to beat Sami Zayn because Sami Zayn does comedy. And if you do comedy, there's no way you're going to be able to work out in between that. Jey Uso defeats Carlito pretty easily. The Miz, guess what he's going to be? A host. He's always a damn host. And he's going to be the host of SummerSlam because you know what? That's his home. And R-Truth is very confused what a home is. Yada, yada, yada. He'll be bringing snacks, I guess, or something.
Hors d'oeuvres.
Kathy, here's the thing. Whatever Kathy Lee wants, I'll fucking give her. Oh, excuse me. I will give her. Karrion Kross defeats Xavier Woods. Mocks him afterwards. Sami Zayn says he will defeat Braun Breaker. He did comedy when he beat him the first time. He'll do it again. Liv Morgan has lost her legitimate mind and is burning all of Dom's clothes. Sami Zayn and Dom in a DQ because the Judgment Day jumped Sami Zayn. After the match, Braun Breaker tries to attack Sami Zayn, but he gets haluva kicked for his hard work. A new VHS tape of the Wyatt Six, but this time it's Dexter Lumis, and nothing happens. But next week, we will have the Wyatt Six versus Chad Gable and the Creed. So the Wyatt Six, we get them. I'm sure we'll be talking about that, baby. We got, what is this? Oh, Belair, Stark, and DeVille defeat Valkyria, Chance, and Carter. After the match, Damage Control jump them and say they run the show, not those other girls. Gunther talks about Damian Priest in an empty arena, and then he goes on to defeat Finn Balor by submitting him to sleep, and then he continues to submit him to sleep until Priest comes out and defends Finn Balor, and they close the show by brawling, and that is the Monday Night Raw review. A lot happened on Monday Night Raw. You said you hated it. I thought it was jam-packed, fun. I get that it's the same shit every single. I feel like every week I write, I can just like swap and say the same thing. It's pretty much like opens with this, middle here, And here, repeat.
So
I get that, but I still enjoyed it. Yeah.
If this was any other Monday night,
Mhm.
I would have loved this episode of Raw. But
Okay.
because this was the final Raw before SummerSlam,
Mhm.
I thought it was bad. I thought it was maybe one of the worst episodes I've seen in quite a while.
Okay. So break it down, because really quick, I'm not calling you out. You know I love you, but
Of course.
but the point of a go home show before SummerSlam is to build each feud going into. So are you saying they didn't do this? Or are you saying that you
Yes.
didn't like how they did this?
I don't. They didn't do it. I mean,
Okay.
and
So
this
explain, because I want to hear.
So part of the problem for me too is, SummerSlam only has 7 matches, right? So
Mhm.
they can only
Mhm.
do so much. But if you look at this card,
Mhm.
you had CM Punk, Seth Rollins, and Drew McIntyre open the
Mhm.
show. Okay, they sell us on SummerSlam. But then you have the opening match, the Creed brothers with Chad Gable versus the Alpha Academy. None of them are on SummerSlam. Okay, and then
Disappointing. Yeah.
the very next match, Sheamus and Bronson Reed, they're not on SummerSlam. The next
Okay.
then the
Right.
next match, Jey Uso versus Carlito. Yes, Carlito is in the Judgment Day, but none of them are booked for SummerSlam. The next
Okay.
match after that, Karrion Kross versus Xavier Woods, not on SummerSlam. So what, like,
Okay.
and then they do a bunch of backstage promos. Sami
Mhm.
Zayn and Dominic Mysterio. Yes, Sami Zayn's on SummerSlam, and Dominic's
Mhm.
involved in the big story.
Mhm.
The Dexter Lumis interview, and then the 6-woman tag match: Lyra Valkyria, Katana Chance, Caden Carter versus
None of
Sonya
them.
Deville, Shayna Baszler, and Zoe Stark, not on SummerSlam. And
Mhm.
then the main event, Finn Balor, not on SummerSlam, versus Gunther, who is. But it was
Yeah.
just, it was, to me, why should I sit around if you don't care enough to put those people on SummerSlam and
Mhm.
like on your second biggest show of the year? Why should I be invested on Monday Night Raw to watch those?
Mhm.
And that's kind of how I feel. Like, it was, like I said, if this was any other episode of Raw, I think I would have liked it. But because this was the final match, like, we couldn't get another in-ring promo between Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley. Instead, we got a bunch of
Mhm.
backstage pre-tape segments between them. The only real thing we got was Priest and Gunther fighting to
Mhm.
close the show, and CM Punk and Drew McIntyre and Seth Rollins doing absolutely nothing at the beginning of the show. So the rest of it was just filler for me. Like, Braun Breaker did a pre-taped interview. Sami Zayn did one. Gunther did an empty arena interview. Damian Priest did a
Mhm.
pre-taped interview. It was just, we couldn't. We can't put you can't put the tag team titles on the card for SummerSlam and kind of build, Finn Balor and JD McDonough going against a tag team and kind of build Raw around that as to who
Mhm.
they're going to face or something. But I just felt like, you don't care enough to put the women. There's only one women's segment on in ring on Raw in
Yeah.
that entire 3 hours, and then why am I invested in Bronson Reed versus Sheamus on Raw if they're not going to wrestle at SummerSlam? Why do I care about Xavier Woods and Karrion Kross on Monday Night Raw? Plus, it's like the 87th straight time that they've wrestled. And then everything else, the Creeds and Chad Gable against the Alpha Academy. None of them are on SummerSlam. Jey Uso,
Mhm.
the big merch seller, he's not on SummerSlam. So it's just, what's the point? Like, if you don't care enough to put them on one of your biggest shows, why should I be invested on the go home show of SummerSlam to watch them?
All right. So I told you to prove it to me, and you half did. Okay. I believe a lot of that, and why you would, like, once you started breaking it down, I was going through it. I'm like, you're right. Only the top and bottom
Yeah.
literally have to do with. So, okay. So you got me there. But for what they did with SummerSlam, I did like. Let me start off with the women's part. I actually thought this was kind of the most women shown on Monday Night Raw, because not only they have Valkyria, Chance, and Carter, they had Baszler,
Mhm.
Stark, and Deville. They also had Damage Control
Yeah.
come out. Are they baby faces now? They were
I get,
all in
yeah.
black, but they were doing the babyface thing. Then we did have a lot with Liv and Rhea, and I know they didn't have any in-ring stuff, but I think they want to keep them apart. But that Rhea promo was fire. And by the way, Rhea Ripley, did that chick go out and like lose 30 pounds of weight and gain? She looked insane in her outfit. I
She
don't know
looked
what
jacked.
that. She was
Yeah.
wearing like lingerie, but she was like skinny jack now. She's like, stop. But Liv Morgan too, the burning thing, the crying. I thought that was her
It was
best
good
segment
stuff.
she's
Don't
ever
get me
had.
wrong. Yeah.
All good stuff. But here's my debate right here with you. Okay, this is why I agree with you. So I'm not debating you in the sense that I think you're wrong, because you just literally proved me wrong. But here's my thing. I did like the Drew and Punk and Seth thing, and I know I called it stupid because what Seth was talking about was stupid. But here's the thing. I think it was for a reason. I think it was stupid because he had to say all that because he's going to turn on one of them, and we will predict who he's going to turn on. So if he makes up the rules, that gives him the ability to do what he wants. Liv Morgan and them, whatever. There was not much to it, but we're having Carlito and this and that. I think we're doing that, which I'll get into my predictions, for a reason. I think Dom wondering and Carlito being picked on by Rhea and Priest and Finn telling Priest, we don't worry about anything at SummerSlam. We'll talk about Judgment Day after SummerSlam is what he said. Weird wording for somebody who's thinking about probably turning on his homeboy. So there was a lot. I liked what they did with it in house. Karrion Kross and Xavier Woods, yes, the same thing over and over and over again. But they did finally kind of touch base with Karrion Kross stating that he's literally going to fight him every single week until he joins his faction. So there was like a thing because you're going to beat him into submission, but they did have reasons. So yes, I do agree. Jey Uso, I have no idea what they're doing. Oh, wait, or maybe that has something to do with Rhea Ripley. So I feel like everything did have a place, but not. I feel like we're going to get there. I feel like Triple H is finding a way to cook. Was this the best Raw? I actually thought it was pretty enjoyable. Braun Breaker finally getting his comeuppance. Is that a foreshadowing to what's going to happen? I mean, I did like, and I did think they were doing things. I do want to talk about the Wyatt 6 really quick because we didn't get to talk about the video last week. So I'm going to bring up the video. We'll talk about Wyatt 6 unmasking. We were talking about how we liked the videos. You started to fade out. You liked them, this and that. But we wanted them all to talk about. And we thought it was really cool. We agreed on that. Bo Dallas talked about his feelings, and he did it 3 weeks straight. And then Eric Rowan talked about his feelings and this and that. And then last week we didn't talk about it, but we got Nikki Cross and she didn't say shit. And everybody was like, okay, I thought it was awful because I liked that they were being humanized and they were discussing why they were doing what they were doing. And she didn't say anything. So then I thought, okay, maybe she's like the mute character. But then we got Dexter Lumis this week with braids like he's Monica from Friends when she went to Jamaica. I don't know what was going on with his hair, but he didn't say shit. He literally didn't say anything. So now I'm like,
he never talked.
You lost, but you lost me again because I want I want to know why you were in the Wyatt 6. I don't care who you are because if you're just Dexter Lumis, if you're just Nikki Cross, then no one should be afraid of you guys because you guys are jobbers. So you need to be more than jobbers. You need to back up the fact that when Chad Gable said, I want them next week, and not Nick Aldis,
Adam Pearce.
Adam Pearce said, you better blah, 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 what you wish for, or blah, blah, blah. Then I want that to mean something. I'd like that they unmasked. I'm glad because once again, they're humanizing themselves. They're not. Bray Wyatt didn't work in the WWE, even though he was a genius and he should have worked. He didn't because they didn't unmask him. He wrestled in the Fiend mask. It looked stupid. He was supernatural. And I know those people on my TikToks telling me, well, The Undertaker and this, Mankind. But Mankind and The Undertaker were never like supernatural. I know that The Undertaker got help from the blah, blah, blah. And Paul Bearer would be like, oh, Undertaker. And he would get stronger. But Hulk Hogan also hulked out. It doesn't mean he was supernatural. It was just a way to motivate you. They weren't like Papa Shango was supernatural, but how did that work out? So I like that they weren't supernatural and that they were being humanized, but I don't like that they didn't tell their stories. I think they did blow it with not having everyone speak. You can speak in that video and tell your side and then not speak again. And I think they blew it there. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you disagree, but I think that was a huge miss for the Wyatt 6.
Yeah, I completely agree. I thought this was a big missed opportunity, especially after last week with Nikki Cross not saying anything. And then Dexter Lumis, whose character never really spoke before. All he says is run in the video, which we hear that so many times with the Wyatt family. It was just, I like that they unmasked. And, Joe Gacy looks exactly the same. And Eric Rowan looks exactly the same. The only one that looks different is Dexter Lumis.
I didn't even notice him.
Yeah. I mean, he's got the new look. He's got the. I feel like this could be like a breakout moment for him. You know, in addition to Bo Dallas breaking out, of course. But I think he could maybe be the breakout character from all this if he's done right. And then his first opportunity, he doesn't say anything. Like you said, why are they in the Wyatt Six? Like, what's the point of this faction? Like, what's so scary about Dexter Lumis? Because the last time we saw him, he was losing to the Miz, and he was like the Miz. He was paid to be the Miz's stalker, or Johnny Gargano. It was something like that. It was really weird stuff. And then, you know, same thing with Nikki Cross. Last time we saw her, she was Nikki ASH, and she was
a superhero.
Yeah. So, like, what's the point? So, yeah, I thought this was a missed opportunity. I do like that they're unmasking, and then I have mixed opinions on them not wrestling at SummerSlam.
Say it. I liked it. Say it.
Yeah, I think we should get Bo Dallas versus Chad Gable at SummerSlam, and then like have the rest of the Wyatt Six make their in-ring debut on Monday Night Raw. I don't like that they're having everybody debut on a random episode of Raw after SummerSlam. You know, and like who is it? Who's coming out next? Is it Uncle Howdy? And like who's going to sit it out? Is Dexter Lumis going to sit it out? It's because it's a 6-man match. So, and there's 4 men. So is Uncle Howdy not wrestling? Is it the other 3 guys? Like who like they didn't tell us who it was. But I feel like this was a missed opportunity to add a match to SummerSlam, Chad Gable versus Bo Dallas. The Fiend made his debut at SummerSlam. And so you could honor Bray's legacy by having the Fiend come out and do a cool entrance at SummerSlam, carry the lantern, come out to Bray's music. You know, if you want to do that, and then have him do a one-on-one match and kind of see how Bo Dallas is in the ring. And Chad Gable deserves the opportunity as well because he didn't get a WrestleMania moment. And he's been doing some really good work over the summer in the stuff with Sami Zayn and all the other stuff with Alpha Academy. And then you debut the rest of the Wyatt Six next week on Raw. But that just, I don't know. I don't like that their debut should be at SummerSlam. I mean, this is a group that, you know, destroyed everybody in their first week. And, you know, we thought people had died. There was like bloodshed, and now they don't even get a match at the second biggest event of the year. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me.
I fully agree. Huge miss. And I don't think the impact will feel as great and as important on Monday Night Raw compared to a SummerSlam, no matter what they're going to do. So
60,000 people in Cleveland with the Fireflies getting their phones out. Yeah. You know, it's a missed opportunity. Big time missed opportunity.
I fully agree. All right. Anything else you want to talk about on Raw?
I don't think so. I mean, it was just a mid episode, and I think we kind of broke it down.
Yeah. All right. Let's get into it. NXT Great American Bash. Their way of doing a PLE without having to do a PLE. Let's get into it. Dawn and Fire defeat the Metaphor to keep their women's tag team championships. After the match, Mensa pins Ethan Page again. 1, 2, 3. Pete Dunne is creating havoc because of Sheamus left the Brawlin' Brutes. That's a great reason. Tony D defeats Tavion Heights to defend the cup. Cedric Alexander defeats Brooks Jensen for some reason. Javon Evan talks about watching wrestling as a kid. Joe Hendry, your boy, has a concert and is cut off by Gallus, who destroys him. Ethan Page and Ora Mensa sign their title match contract. Jada Parker defeats Kendall Gray. The Rascals will face Axiom and Frazier next week on NXT Great American Bash Part 2. JC Jane, Henley, and Nix defeat Sol Ruka, Petrovic, and Vice, who is now a good guy. I did not know Lola Vice was a good guy. Kalani Jordan doesn't want to play with Tatum Paxley while Wendy Chu is frozen in time. I don't know what she was doing in the background. Joe Hendry versus Joe Coffey next week to see who's the better Joe. And in the main event, Roxanne Perez defeats Thea Hale in a pretty damn good match to defend her title to close the show. And that is the quick NXT Great American Bash review. This 2 hours went quick, bruv.
Yeah, this was I thought this was probably the show of the week if we were going to do weekly winner. I enjoyed everything about NXT this week, with the exception of the Joe Hendry stuff. And I'm going to be honest, I did not like the Joe Hendry concert, the Joe Hendry rock concert that we got. I don't know. It was stupid. I didn't care for it. And the big problem I had with it was just last week on last Saturday, I think it was, TNA had their pay-per-view Slammiversary,
Mhm.
and Nick Nemeth, formerly known as Dolph Ziggler, walked out of Slammiversary with the TNA World Championship. But Joe Hendry there was a 6-man elimination match, and Joe Hendry was the one that eliminated Moose, the former
Mhm.
TNA World Champion, and Joe Hendry eliminated Moose, and then Josh Alexander turned heel apparently, and he hit Joe Hendry with a low blow, and then eliminated him with his finishing move, and then after Joe Hendry got pinned by Nick Nemeth, I think it was, Josh
Mhm.
Alexander continued to slap Joe Hendry around. So it was clearly like a big heel turn for Josh Alexander. That was like a shocking moment at their big pay-per-view.
Mhm.
Did we get any of that on NXT? Was it like Joe Hendry comes out and he's singing songs? Like
Yep.
he's like, it was typical. I don't like to bring up his name, but it was typical Vince McMahon booking. Like when Kofi Kingston lost the WWE Championship in 6 seconds to Brock Lesnar, the very next week he's out there doing his New Day shtick, where he's like, "New
Mhm.
Day rocks in
Yeah.
WWE." And it was just like, you
Mhm.
just lost the title last week, dude. Like, why aren't you like pissed off?
Yeah.
There was no emotion from it. And then and I get it's two separate universes, but I don't know. He's coming out singing songs, playing guitar when he just had the biggest opportunity of his life stolen from him. Like, I feel like he should have come out with a completely different demeanor, beat up everybody, go after anyone, but instead he's focused on Gallus for some reason. So I did not enjoy this segment at all. They take this segment out of NXT and I give it an A+. But with this segment in there, it brings it down to a B-, maybe even a low C or a high
Yeah.
C.
Yeah. And I'm sorry. If you're going to do a concert, it cannot be like Elias. It's gotta be like The
Yeah.
Rock. This concert sucked. Even the things he was saying that they got to party because they have ugly beards. I'm like, that's not even
And
clever. And he
bring
said it
Dutch
700 times.
and talking about Dutch Mantel, like
Yeah.
the NXT fans are supposed to know
Mhm.
who that is. I mean,
Yeah.
come on.
That was a huge miss. Everything about it. Joe Hendry, I once again, I posted it on TikTok. I don't get it. I don't get him. I don't get the appeal. I'll watch him again wrestle next week. I've seen him in TNA. I don't get it other than a catchy song, and I don't even think the song is that catchy, to be honest. But that's just me. That's
Yeah.
just the me.
I didn't
Yeah.
get it. I didn't get it. And you brought up Elias. Like I completely forgot about. I mean, Elias was one of my favorites for a long time,
Hmm.
but
Hmm.
yeah, it was just like an Elias concert.
Yeah.
And it was, and we just, and I think that's the thing. The WWE, they find something that works and then they kind of do it to
Hmm.
death. We
Yeah.
just had the Rock concert on the build to WrestleMania with taking on Cody Rhodes, and it was fantastic. And then so they're like, okay, that worked. So let's get Joe Hendry to do a concert on NXT,
Yeah.
just like the camera angle with the one camera angle where they're following everybody around, and then the
Hmm.
empty arena interviews. It's like they find one thing that works and they do it to death. And I feel like these concerts are going to be the next thing that they do.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
probably. And also, like, I don't like the fact that, yeah, they showed his name as a TNA person, but they don't talk about TNA at all. And I don't get the Rascals talked more about TNA than he did. They don't really, what's the point of this
Yeah.
partnership for TNA when it's really just seems like Joe Hendry is auditioning to go on to NXT? Because he even talked about like NXT is where the best wrestle and but basically not stealing from AEW, but he was
Yeah.
like, this is the best. I want to come here and I want to prove that I belong. And I'm like, so are
Yeah.
you not in TNA then? Like,
And that's
what?
the
I
and
don't
and
get it.
and again, he just lost he got screwed out
Uh-huh.
of the biggest opportunity of his life by winning the TNA championship. And so when we watch TNA this week, is he going to be on? When is he going to be
Mhm,
happy? Is he going to be
mhm,
pissed? Is he like he's going to go? Oh yeah, I'm back in TNA. I'm
mhm.
mad, even though you just saw me on Tuesday night and I was happy. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. This was, I didn't like it. I
Well,
couldn't.
like Pete Dunne attacking Trick Williams. Why is Pete Dunne wrestling Trick Williams? Why is Trick Williams wrestling random people every week? Please explain to me.
Yeah, I don't get that either. Yeah,
What's going on with him right now and everything else. But other than that, I mean, I like the Ethan Page signing. I like that Ethan Page got pinned again. I like where they're going with that. I like the route because Ethan Page will win, but it's given Ora Mensa a reason to fight. And that main event, man, Thea Hale proved once again that she can go. Roxanne Perez is proving she's one of the best females in the world. It's a phenomenal main event. Way to close the show. I dug it a lot.
yeah. No, the Thea Hale Roxanne Perez was Vince.
Mhm.
It's rare when wrestling has me on the edge of my seat, and I was on the edge of my seat in that match. I was like, I literally thought they're gonna do it. They're gonna put the belt on
Yeah.
Thea Hale. I kept thinking like, this is any time now. Roxanne Perez is gonna tap out, and Roxanne Perez pulled it off. It was a good match. It was a good way to end the
Yeah.
show.
For sure. For sure. I agree. All right. That's it. The week in review. All right, WWE. And with that said, once again, before we get into prediction time, I want to say that we will be doing a live SummerSlam watch along, 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 o'clock Pacific for SummerSlam. So tune in. It's a good time. We have fun. We talk. We laugh. We cry. We enjoy the show. It's great, great fun. So tune in on wherever you watch us, YouTube or on what's the other one? YouTube
Twitch,
or
yeah,
Twitch, whichever one you're
yeah.
going to watch us on. So look us up, Two Dudes. But let's get into it. You ready for our perfect 7 for 7 predictions? Let's get into it.
Prediction time. Before it ever happens, it's a prediction. Lean in close, take notes, listen. Cause they about to point it out quickly. All the things that you didn't see is getting called like plays at the line of scrimmage. You can take it to the bank, the dudes ain't tripping. They've been seeing what's coming for a good minute. It's prediction time, yeah, let's get it.
So it is SummerSlam prediction time. Is it really called Cleveland Brown Stadium now? That's
Yeah,
pretty dope.
that's very creative. But yes, it's the Cleveland Browns Stadium.
But that's how it should be. Nobody loves the Browns. Like, man, they love the Browns are straight trash. Have been trash for ever. And Cleveland, man, they love their teams, man. You got to give it to them.
Kudos,
Cleveland Browns Stadium.
I actually do kind of like it. Yeah, as opposed to the bank like the what is it? The Bank of America field at
even like
BB&T Stadium, like
SoFi and all these other is all I like it. I like it that this is
the crypto. You have a crypto.com arena now.
Oh my god.
It's always going to be staples.
The Clippers got their own stadium, didn't call it LA Clippers Stadium, which they could have. So
yeah.
All right. We're gonna start. Let's go. Let's start with Sami Zayn versus Braun Breaker.
I got the.
Oh, you want to start here? All right, let's start. Yeah. Oh, you think you got the order? Let's do it. Bayley versus Nia Jax for the WWE Women's Championship. As always, you start off. Is there going to be a cash in? Is there not? Who you got?
I'm gonna go. Bayley retains, and yes, I do think Tiffany Stratton is going to cash in on Bayley and walk out of SummerSlam as the new WWE Women's Champion. Bayley's run, to no fault of her own, has just not been good. It's because they haven't pushed her, they haven't promoted her, they barely even use her, and so I feel like it's kind of time to take it into a different direction. Nia Jax, I would love to see her win the belt, but I could see her being pissed off that Tiffany Stratton decided to cash in and kind of setting up a new angle that way. So I'm gonna go Bayley wins, but Tiffany Stratton cashes in.
All right. I'm gonna go with Bayley. I think Tiffany Stratton tries to cash in, and then Nia Jax convinces her not to, and it distracts her, and Bayley gets the win. Yeah. So I'm gonna go with Bayley with the win, no cash in. That is my prediction.
Yeah, that's fair. I like that.
All right, let's do it. We got Sami Zayn versus Braun Breaker for the Intercontinental Championship. Who you got?
Sami Zayn stood tall at the end of Raw, and if that's or not at the end of Raw, but during Raw, and if that's any indication, I think Braun Breaker's time is now. So I'm going to say Braun Breaker is going to win and beat Sami Zayn for the Intercontinental Championship.
I think you know how I feel. That's always the indication. That's why I hate doing predictions before SmackDown, because I don't know who's going to stand tall. I got to try to predict who's going to, but I'm going to go, 100%. Braun Breaker is winning. Sami Zayn got the best of them, but I do think Sami Zayn moves on to bigger and better things, joins Roman Reigns in the Bloodline moving forward. So
he has been teaming with Jey Uso lately, and Jey Uso came out to his aid when the Judgment Day beat him down. So, I mean, it makes sense, right? You're foreshadowing a potential Bloodline reunion that way.
I agree. All right, who we got? Ooh, we got Logan Paul versus LA Knight. Yeah. For the US Championship. Who you got?
I'm going to go against the grain. I think Logan Paul is going to retain. I have this feeling. He's from Cleveland. They always WWE. I mean, Johnny Gargano's not defending his tag team titles on. He's from Cleveland too. He's not defending the tag team titles on SummerSlam. So they're probably gonna. They may retain. They may lose. But and the Miz is the host of SummerSlam, and he's from Cleveland. So I think they're going to have the hometown guy win with shenanigans. And there's been a report that I saw on social media that Logan Paul's been confirmed for Bash at Berlin, which is the next pay-per-view at the end of August. And he's confirmed for WWE Bad Blood. So I could see this feud going maybe 1, 2, even 3 matches. So I'm going to say Logan Paul wins the first one, but LA Knight will eventually win the US title.
All right. I'm going to agree. I think it's Logan Paul. I'm going to go with the prediction of Logan Paul got the come-ups on this SmackDown. So the next one, which will happen before SummerSlam, LA Knight will get the come-up in.
Yeah.
So I feel like LA Knight or Logan Paul will win. And yeah, so I got to go with Logan Paul for sure. And they can't have him lose in his hometown. I just don't see it. It doesn't make any sense to have him lose in Cleveland. So yeah.
No, not this
yes,
time.
sir. Yes, sir. All right. Liv Morgan versus Rhea Ripley for the WWE Women's World Championship. This is a tough one.
Yeah.
Let's hear it.
The weird thing is any of these next matches could main event this show. So I have no idea what
I want to guess who it is. Yeah.
I have no idea what order this is going to go in, but I'm going to say Liv Morgan wins. Liv Morgan's going to retain her women's championship, and Dominic is going. Now that I say it out loud, I don't think I think Dom is going to accidentally cost.
You're going accidentally, okay?
Yeah, it's going to be an accident, and Liv Morgan's going to be all like happy that he did it and thinking that he did it. Like she's going to be all of a sudden she's going to love him again, and Rhea Ripley's going to be pissed. But I think it's going to be like an accident, quote unquote accident, and then this storyline is going to continue even more.
So you're going that route, not the obvious, yeah.
Okay. Not yet. I don't know. There's so many like the Bloodline story. There's so many ways that this thing can go. So, because you notice, I mean, I saw all these people on social media. Finn's face wasn't vandalized on Monday Night Raw. Everyone else's faces were spray painted and vandalized. So, is Finn working with Liv this whole time? So there's that avenue as well.
You got so many routes to go with this Judgment Day storyline.
It's tough to predict.
Yeah. I gotta go. I'm going Liv Morgan as well, but I'm going Dirty Dom helping. I think this is the end of Rhea and Dom. I think she was, although they put her in the Dirty Dom necklace there, I think after Liv cried and did all that thing, I think that was a given that they're working together in cahoots, especially because in the clubhouse, they were like, oh, so it's, Liv did this, and Dom was like, oh, I think, like trying to still like defend it, but not defend it. I think we get Dirty Dom helping her.
Yeah.
This is the end of the Judgment Day. As Finn Balor predicted, that SummerSlam, they'll go on their own. And then we'll see and they'll start anew after SummerSlam. So yeah, I got Liv winning because of Dirty Dom. We'll see though. We'll see. Tough matches to predict. That's why I love the SummerSlam. All right, here's another one. We got Damian Priest versus Gunther for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. Who you got?
This one's hard. I want Damian Priest to retain. I really do.
Yep.
But I think this is why I predicted that Dominic's going to accidentally cost Rhea, because I think Finn is going to intentionally cost Damian Priest, and we're going to see Finn turn on Priest in this match and help, and Gunther's going to take advantage and walk out World Heavyweight Champion. So my prediction is I want Priest to retain, but I think Gunther's going to retain or going to win.
Yeah. I also want Damian Priest to keep the title. I think he deserves it. I think he's earned it. I think he's slowly building over, but I think they're trying to make him a babyface. And what better way to make him a babyface than having someone betray him? I think Gunther wins this title. I think not only does Gunther win the title, but I think at the same time, it's because of Finn Balor. I think Finn Balor is officially turning. Even if I get the Dom wrong, I think Finn turns no matter what. I think that's 100% the given. So yeah, I got Gunther winning because of Finn Balor, causing Damian Priest the title, which will get Damian Priest even more of a baby face over.
That's what I'm thinking too. Even though I really want Damian Priest to retain, but
so do I. But this will be a good way of him losing it without losing too much. And he had a good reign, and he ended up on top. He's catching heat or catching steam. So yeah. Yes, sir. All right. Oh, that's enough, dude. All these matches are so hard to predict.
CM and this match could main event too.
It could. CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre with Seth freaking Rollins as a guest referee. Who wins? Who do you got?
I think Drew McIntyre is going to beat CM Punk. I think this is going to be a multi-match feud. This is not going to end at SummerSlam. I think this is going to continue after SummerSlam. So I think Drew McIntyre is going to win and beat CM Punk and then get a rematch at the next pay-per-view, and then they'll finish it off in Hell in a Cell. If any feud deserves Hell in a Cell, it's this one right here. So I think Drew McIntyre wins the first round with shenanigans, and I think Seth Rollins is going to be that X factor. I think he's going to he's not going to betray CM Punk, but he is going to do something that's going to irritate CM Punk. They're going to go at it, and CM Punk's going to like accidentally knock him out, and then another referee is going to come out, and Drew McIntyre is going to win that way with a low blow or something. So that's what I think happens.
Yeah, I agree. I think Drew McIntyre wins this. We got almost all of them. I think Drew McIntyre wins, and I do think Seth hates CM Punk more than he hates Drew McIntyre. Remember, this all started with CM Punk and Seth. It only went to CM Punk and Drew because Drew accidentally injured him or prayed that he would injure him at the Royal Rumble. So that's why it continued on to this way. So yeah, I think Seth does that. I actually think Drew wins, moves on to Gunther or whoever else, and we get a CM Punk Seth Rollins feud moving forward because of it. So, which everybody wanted. I think that's what they wanted. So they're going to get back there. So
see, that's why I think CM Punk and McIntyre will continue, and then we'll get build like until early, like the first Raw on Netflix will be CM Punk versus Seth Rollins or something.
When is that, by the way? When is that?
January.
Not January. Okay.
Yeah, January. Yeah, it's like the first January of 2025. So I could see them waiting until then and kind of dragging this out, past War Games if they wanted to with Punk and McIntyre. So you could sprinkle in like a triple threat match, and you can do other things, but Punk and McIntyre will continue to feud after SummerSlam.
All right. I agree. Let's get into it. I think this will be the main event. I do, because I do think someone's going to be returning. You can't do that in the middle of the show. So we got Cody Rhodes versus Solo Sikoa for the WWE Undisputed, not Universal Championship. Who you got?
Man, this one I cannot wrap my head around how they're going to do it. And that's what this is like a really hard card to predict, but I think Cody Rhodes retains. As much as I think Solo Sikoa should win, Cody Rhodes is going to retain. But my question is how does our tribal chief make his long-awaited, highly anticipated return and help Cody Rhodes? Because I also feel like that weakens Cody Rhodes' championship reign by having let me go to the guy that I beat for help to beat a guy that I've beaten many a time before, because he was 0-34 in singles matches prior to WrestleMania. So. But then if you want the bloodline to look strong and be dominant, maybe it's time to take the belt off of Cody Rhodes and put it on Solo. And that's the tipping point that brings Roman Reigns back, seeing his prized possession around the waist of his cousin, somebody else in his family. But I think Cody Rhodes is going to win. And then after the match, we're going to see Roman Reigns come out. And that's all we're going to get. We're going to get Roman Reigns coming out staring at Solo Sikoa. I think the new bloodline will come out and beat down Cody Rhodes after the match. They'll beat him down, and they'll reign supreme. They'll be dominant like they have been, and that's when we'll get Roman's music, and Roman will just stand on the top of the stage with Jimmy and Paul Heyman, and they'll just stare at Solo Sokoa as the show goes off the air.
Okay. All
Teasing
right.
for SmackDown. We get the first promo back of Roman Reigns, all that stuff.
Yeah, it's hard to predict because you are right. Like Roman helping him doesn't make a lot of sense, but it does because Solo's calling him out. I still have to. I know it's going to be so weird, but I am hoping that SummerSlam, this closes it. This is the main event. Solo's about to hit him with the thumb, and Roman Reigns comes out. The crowd erupts. The ref's knocked out or whatever is going to happen, and he's going to spear him, and Cody's going to get the win after a few crossroads, and this is going to be it. Cody is finally going to take his reign to anyone but the Bloodline. He's going to move forward and never talk about the Bloodline again. And we just move on now with Roman, his crew, and Solo and his crew. That's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping we're done with Cody and the damn Bloodline. Hopefully this is it.
That's what I'm hoping too. Because yeah. And the other thing too is if Solo wins and Roman comes out and confronts Solo, then that puts Roman right back in the title picture. And people were so quick for Roman to drop that belt. Do they really want to see him back in the belt? And then you got Cody getting a rematch potentially too. And so Cody's back involved with the Bloodline. So yeah, I think you're right. I think that's how it has to be. Cody has to move on and go feud with Randy Orton or somebody else like that and stay separate from the Bloodline for sure.
I agree. Well, that's it. That was our SummerSlam predictions. Take him to the DraftKings banks if you're in a state that can gamble. I can't gamble out here, so it don't matter how good my predictions are. There you go. Take him over to the big NC. Woo! Right. With Ric Flair, who wanted to turn heel on Sting. You can go ahead and just, go vote up out in there. So, all right, man. Are you ready? Let's close off our week of WWE with our most valuable dude or dudette and our least valuable dude or dudette. And as always, we will start off with the least valuable dude or dudette or dudes or dudettes. Who do you got? Let's hear it.
All right. This one was a no-brainer for me, but I'm going to say Triple H. Triple H is my least valuable dude of the week. He's just, he's the chief content officer. And so he's got to take some of the blame for this. The last couple of weeks of SmackDown have not been very good, including this one. And then Raw this week. I mean, I told you how I felt about Raw this week. And yes, they did some good things, kind of teasing to SummerSlam with the backstage stuff, but the show itself was just a huge miss for me. And then they also showed Triple H meeting Jesse the Body Ventura backstage for some reason.
I didn't even talk about that. Yeah.
And they didn't even
they were in Minnesota.
Yeah. Which okay, cool. But then they don't show it. Like they made it a big deal. He tweeted about it. They made it a huge deal. They show him meeting him. They hug, but they don't show us anything else. They don't show us what they said. They don't show us what they talked about. It was just a weird thing. But yeah, some of the booking decisions on Raw, especially like you had like 4 or 5 straight matches with no SummerSlam implications at all. You had the Wyatt Sick6 not wrestling at SummerSlam. Instead, you do it on a random episode of Raw next week. That was a choice and one that he made. And okay, I mean, we'll see what happens. But I got to go Triple H this week. It was not his best week. And I know, like, I think so highly of Triple H and the job that he's done with the WWE and ever since taking over for Vince when Vince left with all his allegations. And he's done fantastic, but he's had a few misses. And this week for me, in my opinion, was a miss. And I think so I'm gonna say Triple H.
All right. My LVD is a dude, my least valuable dude. I'm gonna get to Trick Williams.
Yeah, that's a good pick.
He was the hottest thing in NXT. He dethroned, in my opinion, the second greatest NXT World Champion behind Ciampa of all time in NXT. And he literally had a good reign, was doing his thing, had a fluke loss to Ethan Page in a 4-way where he knocked Ethan Page out to have Ethan Page land on somebody else to lose his instant rematch to Ora Mensa. Every tag team belt, women's belt, secondary belt, championship belt gets an instant rematch in any organization from AEW to TNA to New Japan to WWE. And yet here is Trick Williams wrestling nobodies. He wrestled Cedric Alexander. He's now going to wrestle Pete Dunne for some reason. I don't know what happened. What did Trick Williams do that he has to start from the bottom to earn his way back up? He didn't even lose his damn belt. Super weird. If you wanted to get rid of him, then just bring him to WWE. Don't keep him in NXT if you're not going to have him feel important. This is a huge miss. And once again, my least valuables aren't usually because of the wrestler. It's because of the booking. And this is another case of that. So,
That's why it was hard for me to pick a least valuable because, it's hard to do that with the wrestling. And so I blamed the booker this week. So that's
there you go.
I got out of that. But yeah, Trick Williams, man, that's a good pick. I don't know what the heck they're doing with him.
No idea. All right. Now, who's your MVD? Most valuable dude or dudette or dudes and dudettes?
Yeah, I'm going to go dudettes.
Let's hear it.
I'm going to go the entire NXT women's division because
I like it.
They carried the Great American Bash week 1. I mean, that match with Thea Hale and Roxanne Perez to close out the show was fantastic. And then, you got to see Sol Ruka doing her thing, and she was flipping all around the place and, just looking phenomenal in the ring and, out of the ring, of course. But and then you have the Unholy Union and versus the Metaphor with Lash Legend and doing her thing. With Dawn and Isla Dawn and Alba Fire and Lash Legend and Jackson to they lost, but they look great in the loss. And then you have the stuff with Kalani Jordan going on and in NXT. So I really feel like the women carried this first week. Jada Parker and Kendall Gray, I forgot about them, but the women really carried NXT this week, and it was a phenomenal showcasing of the future of the WWE. And then of course the Thea Hale Roxanne Perez match to me stole the show, but the women deserve their flowers. So I'm going to go the entire NXT women's division are my most valuable dudettes of the week.
That's a super solid pick. I like it. I'm going to go with the dude. My most valuable dude is none other than Drew McIntyre. And the reason why is because he posted a picture with him and Jack Perry, and that was more than enough to have me win him over. The dude is a genius. Not only is he a genius, but he posted this picture and had the internet erupt about like Triple H made him delete it. CM Punk made him delete it. And it was all a huge plan. Supposedly Drew and Punk are like nonstop coming up with great ideas. I'm more curious on the fact that how the hell did he find Jack Perry to get that picture? That is awesome. I'm also more in the fact that Tony Khan was cool with it. Trips was cool with it. Michael Cole name dropped. Cool Well, he still took it. And I mean, Michael Cole name dropped Jack Perry on Monday Night Raw. It was a pretty surreal moment. I love it. And then I just think Drew and Punk, man, Drew has carried that feud. It is genius to see such a long storyline built with no contact. I'm just all for Drew McIntyre. I hope he wins. He deserves a championship in the future. But yeah, definitely most valuable dude has to go to my boy, Drew.
Yeah,
McIntyre.
It's a good pick. I like that pick a lot. And CM Punk he posted something on Instagram of him with Brody King and Darby Allin from AEW because they were all at the San Diego Comic-Con together.
Oh, maybe that's where he saw Jack Perry. Oh, yeah,
because AEW was there, and you got to see like Britt Baker doing her stuff. Like her and Mercedes got kicked out because they almost they almost threw hands and then on the other side, WWE, like that's where CM Punk like awkwardly, that was the talk of the internet too. He put his arm around Zoe Stark, and everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, why is he doing? He's cheating on AJ Lee." I'm like, "Shut up!" No, he's not. But
I saw that post, and that's what people were clamoring. I saw it, but I didn't like pay attention to it.
Because Zoe Stark
puts his arm around every girl. That's just
Zoe
who
Stark
he is.
like leaned into him, and he
she like laid on him.
And he like put his arm around her, and it was like a little touching moment, and everyone was just like, "Oh my gosh, he's cheating on AJ Lee. He's cheating on AJ." I'm like, "Okay, stop." But
that's what people say. Trust
on
me,
camera. But so I think that's probably where he saw Jack Perry and decided, hey, let's take a picture. This will be good.
Do you think he went up to him and said, like, hey, Jack, Drew, like, I'm feuding with him. Will you take a picture with me and I can post it really quick just as like a
Aren't
joke?
aren't you Luke's son? Like I love
Yeah.
him from 90210. Like, yeah,
Can
I
I
can
do
see.
a da-na-na-na? Can I do like
Yeah,
a little? Yeah.
there
Nice.
was something. Drew McIntyre, man, this guy, he's got a sharp wit, because there was something he did with Billy Corgan a few months ago, where Billy Corgan, they reenacted the scene from The Simpsons where Billy Corgan was like, "I'm Billy Corgan of the Smashing Pumpkins," and Drew McIntyre was like, I'm Drew McIntyre, smiling politely." You know, it was just like one of,
Nice.
like, Homer Simpson said that to this, like, when he was playing for the Smashing
Mhm.
Pumpkins. So yeah, Drew McIntyre, man, he's in touch with the pop culture out there. But it was yeah, that's a solid pick. Drew
Yeah.
McIntyre with Jack Perry.
Good stuff. Good stuff. All right. That's it. That's official. We did it at a good time, an hour and 5 minutes. I love it. We're getting better. Also, like we said, tune in, SummerSlam, watch along this Saturday, 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 o'clock Western. We will be doing it. Watch along with the two dudes. We will be having a ton of fun. Please do so. Friday, we will have in a couple days our AEW edition. We'll talk about all things AEW and everything that's moving forward with that, and some pretty big news with somebody who likes the money. Here comes the money. We'll talk about that. So that's exciting.
Some big stuff going on.
Heck yeah. But as always, we appreciate you. We moved up in followers on our YouTube, so thank you very much. But as always, keep subscribing, keep viewing, keep telling your friends, keep enjoying us. Please, we're doing our best. I can't tell you if you want to follow me, HBD Denton, on all social medias. You're not going to see my videos, so you're going to have to actually go on HBD Denton to view them, because TikTok refuses to share my videos. And with me, as always, is the man with the plan,
Ryan Enjoys Wrestling. Go find me on all the socials. I'm back posting again, so go on there and follow me. You may not find my stuff either. I don't know. My first video took off, and then my next one, I got like 4 views or something. So go check us out. Go follow our podcast page at Two Dudes with Attitudes. Our videos usually do pretty well there. And then on X, go follow us at Two Dudes PC. And keep liking and subscribing, and subscribe to the YouTube channel as well as our Twitch channel, which will be live this weekend for SummerSlam. Like we said, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. And then if you're listening to us on Apple and Spotify, we appreciate all the love and support. Keep those downloads coming, and keep the love coming, and leave us a 5-star rating and review. Every little bit helps with all these algorithms, and we're blowing up, man. In 2024, it's our year. It's going to be the year of the dudes. So let's make it happen.
Two dudes, Wolfpack. We out.
Let's go. It's the two dudes and our attitudes ruthless, aggressively speaking. So let's do this. We're Ryan and Denton. They here to get your attention. The 5-star broadcast shit. Start to the ending. Whether it's the E or it's all E. The two dudes with the attitudes will bring the heat. Get the point, yeah, it's on, time to lock in. Listen to the podcast where they get it poppin'.